That's the one step that I'm super excited about because I know that can make a huge difference. The problem is not the fact that we're not getting leads, it's people not buying.
Like, we're doing this because what? Russell Brunson offered to help me with my book funnel. Ladies and gentlemen, Marian Esanu in the house, marketing legend, ClickFunnels wizard, helping me sell my YouTube course. So where are we at? Have we launched the new funnel? What are we doing now? Explain to everybody where we're at, what we're doing, our new plan with the YouTube course.
Yeah, so we've this week I got from Christina the new retargeting ads, and we redesigned basically the sales page. It's so there are two sales pages now. It's one sales page that talks to people that are cold leads, and then another one that talks to people that are just retargeted, right? So for example, people that were watching the webinar, seen the offer, didn't buy. Now we get them back to a retargeting page from both YouTube and then retargeting from Instagram. Instagram ads are not yet launched, but it's going on, I think, either Saturday or Sunday.
Okay, so hold on. So up to this point, we've only had one landing page that everybody went to. That landing page is going to be the one, so it's the webinar, right? That's the one that is for now cold people. And we're creating
everybody lands on the webinar. Everybody goes through the webinar.
Okay.
But for example, there are a couple different steps from there. So for example, somebody that watches the webinar, but they leave early, so that person gets retargeted back to the webinar because they didn't get a chance to see the whole thing to get indoctrinated well enough. So for example, if they leave before the offer, I think the offer comes on at 40 something minutes, so 46, 47, something like that. But if somebody bounces at, let's say 15 minutes, life gets in the way, they get bored, whatever, right? Like they leave, so they don't get a chance to see the offer. Before that, we were able to do it through ClickFunnels, but not to the point where you can say, okay, if they watched, 40 minutes, like right before the offer, then show them this. Right now with Ever Webinar, I'm able to say if they clicked out at 38:56, get them back. If somebody watches 40 minutes of the webinar, they don't need to rewatch it again because the offer is like right there. So now we can send them straight like, hey, they just had to bounce. They're ready to see the offer because they watch already 40 minutes of it.
You know what? I just got an email today because I guess we have some kind of email campaign just like, hey, you left or something. And a guy wrote back to the email today saying, yeah, I had to go do something, but I'm going to watch the rest of it. So now he doesn't have to start from the beginning. He can go right to 38:21.
Yeah. So then now we can actually do even more segmenting than before. I don't usually start with having the webinar on Ever Webinar because that's a little more complex. That's why we left it for a couple of months on ClickFunnels because it's simple to just get it going and then see different things. But now we are able to say to go a little more complex into segmenting people, at different stages. Because left early can mean 5 minutes into the webinar, or left early 40 minutes into the webinar. It's a whole different thing, right? And we don't want to lose, we don't want to waste people's time. So then that's why I messaged you, I think this week at the beginning, I said, let's go with Ever Webinar because we can do so much more with it. So that's the one step that I'm super excited about because I know that can make a huge difference into the way that people are seeing different steps of the funnel. Another thing that we added was, so somebody watches the webinar, and if you remember the first time that we did this, you actually did it was a 4 video series that we launched it with. So now we integrated that within the webinar. So for example, somebody signing up for the webinar to only watch 2 days later, they now see those 2 indoctrination videos, which are just you giving value. So one, you talk for 40 minutes about why YouTube is the best platform.
Mm-hmm.
Second day, they watch another thing, another 40 minutes. So before they even watch the webinar, they see two other pieces of content from you by email, by whatever. And then they watch the webinar, right? So it's more indoctrination before they even watch the full class of 1 hour.
So you said we had two different landing pages. One is for the cold audience who haven't even started the webinar yet, and one is for people who've already gone through it.
That's the webinar itself. The
Okay.
sales page has two different. So for example, the sales page used to be just one. So sales page is the page between the webinar and the checkout page.
Okay.
We now have a sales page in between. But that one used to be the same page for pretty much everybody that was just retargeted. Now we have two different ones. One of them still has the webinar embedded on it. But for example, somebody that watched, let's say, 50 minutes of it previously and they left, when we send them back with the one that has the video. But the difference from a sales page and a checkout page, sales page also has all those 3D mock-ups with what each module has inside, what the bonuses are. More, I think it's like 6 video testimonials from Dean, from Brendan, from all the people that talk about you regarding YouTube. And then below that, it's also testimonials from people in the course, in the group, people that have gotten results already. And then also it's 1, 2, 3, like 6 columns, just selling the value of each module. And then at the end, it's just total value, what it is. So it's essentially what happens on the webinar transcribed into a sales page. But then we have two different ones. This one that I'm talking about is for people that only watch like a really short, like 5-10 minutes into the webinar, and then they leave. They see this one next time. People that are seeing 40 minutes of the webinar and they leave, those people don't have the webinar embedded on this page. They just have, it's the picture with you speaking at my Let's and Andy Frisella's event.
Okay.
That one has because that's the ad of it too.
Okay.
So the big difference is we don't need people to watch again the thing and stay on for another 4 minutes until they see the offer. No, they can see like right when they get back on the page. So I'm excited for this because these are like the segmentations on the way that this new process is coming up. It's way different.
Okay.
What's confusing?
No, I'm following it. I'm thinking this is fantastic. I mean, Marian basically just tells me what I need to do, and then we do it. She says, Evan, I need you to film these 3 videos, and then we give it to my editor, and hopefully she gives you what you need, and then we're off and running. I'm just trying to think for somebody who's watching, who's trying to follow along, who's trying to come up with their own, high ticket program to sell a course. It feels like a lot of steps to go through.
But remember, we didn't start with this. Remember that we didn't start with this. So that's why I haven't even talked about this in the first couple, videos like this that we did. Because if you start with this, you have no way if something doesn't work, like what doesn't work? Like remember when we were hitting that roadblock and we were able to track because it was easy. It was just like 2 campaigns sending traffic. We were getting leads. We were not getting sales. Easy to follow through and understand. Okay, the problem is not the fact that we're not getting leads. It's people not buying. Okay, so we scaled down a couple of the traffic campaigns. We were just focusing on the one that was getting leads, and then we worked on the webinar and then tweaked that and then tweaked the and there were some things with the emails and stuff. But it's when you are just having one traffic campaign, one webinar, and then look at, are you getting sales? No. What happens? You're getting leads? Perfect. Then the problem, it's not the traffic. The problem is something on the webinar that's happening. And that was in this case, because we redid the webinar and then slowly things started to go back on track. Now it's just a matter of scaling up the traffic campaigns that is bringing more leads, getting more retargeting into it, getting more people to people that watch but didn't purchase, getting them into a different sequence. But if we would have started with this, it would have been impossible to troubleshoot it. So that's why at the beginning we haven't even talked about stuff like this, because it's no point to start with such a complex. If
Right.
they didn't do this, do that, and then all that, right? Like
So,
it's just,
okay, so what problem then does this solve? Like, we're doing this because what?
because now we have the data that we know that the webinar actually converts and brings sales. It's just that now people that are watching and they don't get to see the actual offer, it's a big difference from somebody watching 5 minutes versus somebody watching 40 minutes. Because if I watch 40 minutes and you send me back to the thing to watch it from scratch, I'm probably not going to watch it again, because I already spent 40 minutes and watch. So I need to see the offer. Now it's just maybe I bounce because of something, right? Life gets in the way, a phone call or something like that. So now this one allows us to really segment people that don't watch into multiple buckets. You know, somebody that watched 5 minutes versus somebody that watched 20 minutes versus somebody that watched 40 minutes.
So
You
the
see what I mean?
problem was people were watching the video, not buying, and then we didn't have a great way to remarket to them because now we're sending them back to the original webinar to watch the whole thing again.
Exactly.
So we're hoping that this improves our remarketing campaigns to put them right to the offer and try to get them
Put
to
them in the right
purchase.
bucket, to put them in the right bucket to be able to just see what they missed, right?
So it's a better remarketing strategy that we're applying now.
Way different, huge, like 10 times better than a little more complex, true.
Yeah.
But it's a whole different game, because now we can place people in different buckets, like specific.
Whoa, you just got like a lot louder and clearer for some reason.
Didn't do anything.
Wow, it's like the voice of God coming into my ears here. Actually, you know what? So you've been hitting the microphone a couple of times, but you inspired me to change my microphone position. The last time we talked, it wasn't like this.
And that was, it was better or worse?
No, it's better. So the last time we talked, I've been playing with my microphone spot for years. Okay, because I went to this is like a $1,000 microphone or something. It only covers a certain area. So like if I'm, snapping or something like around here, you don't hear it. At least I hope you're not hearing it. But it's meant for singing. Just covers a certain cone. And I had it coming from my computer. I had it over above my head like a boom. And the last time we talked, I had it on the floor, kind of pointing up at me. And I saw your arm. I'm like, I need to get an arm. That's amazing, right? That you can move it in and out when you want and work. And then I realized I have this expensive ass, stand. And I thought, hey, what if I just put it on my table and I can move it, in and out of the way when I need to. And so after years of this, Marian inspired me, not just with my funnels, but with my microphone setup. Now it's in all my videos. I had to move my whole workstation too. Like the angle's a little different. I don't like that I'm covering up, AP Janine a little bit, but apart from that, we're rocking and rolling. So,
but it's funny because you say this now, and I remember, I don't know, a couple of months ago, you put an Instagram story showing your setup over there, and I think I recorded my screen because I knew the story would go away, or I saved it up, something like that. Because then I was trying to figure out, like, I like the fact that he's just able to turn on the camera and start shooting videos. Because that's for years, for the last 2 years, that was my problem. I always had to readjust my camera, and then and then when I saw that, I'm like, oh, damn. I mean, I knew that I could have texted you or messaged you and said, can you send me a screenshot? But then when I saw it, I was actually, okay, so now I gotta do it too.
I love it. We're inspiring each other. Okay. So Christina, my editor, got you the files. So have we launched the next thing, or where are we at now in the process?
No, so we are finishing the integration from Aweber and EverWebinar. So here's how it works. Again, before all this was happening, people, when they opted into ClickFunnels,
Mm-hmm.
Triggers were like 3 simple triggers. They were opting on the page.
Mm-hmm.
It's still the same page now. We're just changing the button to, like, the button will be just an embedded code in there. So when they click, it goes straight into the Ever webinar. The difference with that is this. On Ever webinar, and that's another thing that we haven't even talked about. On Ever webinar, when you click to watch a webinar, you're not able to pause it at all.
Okay.
Unless you are watching the replay. And yeah,
Because it's supposed to be, it makes it feel like it's a live thing. That's what the
well,
idea
we don't
is.
say that it's live, like,
Right.
you know. However, on ClickFunnels previously, people were able to pause it.
Okay.
And that just gives another sense of urgency, because if you're not able to pause it, you either like you don't just watch it and then lose your idea and then leave, and then you say that you come back and then you may not come back or whatever, right? So that's another thing in there that I'm super excited about.
Okay. This guy. Okay.
Because I mean, when you block 45 minutes to watch something, you better just stick around and watch it, right? So that's another thing. But then the whole automation, the way that it happens now versus previously, like the triggers were just said, send this email when they sign up. They missed the webinar. They didn't see the offer. They saw the offer, didn't buy. Done. That was three different triggers. Now we can actually communicate differently. Like I said, if they watch 5 minutes, if they watch 10 minutes, if they watch 40 minutes, we can actually say straight into Aweber all these sequences, like 4, I think is like 6 if I'm not wrong, or 5 or 6, something like that, for now. But the whole thing is the system being able to track all of these things. We can even create like separate campaigns for each of these steps. So those are the things that I'm just I know I'm pumped for it, and
He's
then
geeking out. He's geeking out. I love it. So is everything paused right now, or are we still running our campaigns?
No, it's still running. We tested, I think, last night, just on my end, basically, to go through the funnel and see how it works. It's not paused. No, we don't pause it, because the other one still brings 3.3 or 3.4 ROAS. So yeah, it's no point to pause it until this one goes in effect. It's a simple switch. Like once.
And when do you think we're going to launch this new thing?
So over the weekend, we are working to make sure that the Aweber works properly, meaning we're actually going through it. We missed the webinar intentionally. We go and then we bounce out intentionally to make sure that we're getting those emails properly. So we're testing those out. I would say Tuesday, Wednesday, the latest we'll get. I would say Wednesday, the latest next week. It'll be live.
Okay.
We have it all. Like the webinar, it's just uploaded over there. I'm testing it on my end, and then a couple of the VAs going through it to make sure that the triggers are happening.
Okay.
And then we already have two different videos for retargeting. So yeah, it's basically like a whole new thing.
Great. So
just designed to 10x this.
That's what I like to hear.
That's the goal.
So what else do you need from me to do that?
So far, nothing. Definitely this weekend, nothing. We'll probably have maybe 2 or 3 more iPhone videos requested over the next week or something like that. So far, like this weekend, we're good.
Okay. And for people watching, when you're asking me to make an ad, or you're asking to do iPhone videos, what's kind of the template or the thought process or the types of videos that I'm making an audience, so that they get a kind of sense of what goes into making a campaign?
So even when I sent you, and I know sometimes I do say you can record these videos on your phone or not, but I like the fact that you always ask, do you need this on my phone? Do you need this on my professional camera? Because it's a big difference. Usually, and especially if it's IG, especially for swipe ups, you always want to do it on your phone, and you always want to do it. And I actually recorded a tutorial today about this. You can actually, so the way that I set up these for you, I get the video from you, and then I actually go into my Instagram app. I upload it as I would upload a story on my account.
Mm-hmm.
Then I add the sticker for swipe up, like to feel natural to Instagram, right? Like the actual swipe up thing that you would do on your own story. I actually add that, and then I download the file, and then I use that for ads. So for Instagram, definitely no need for being polished and do some fancy stuff. As natural as possible to the app itself, it just works way better than super polished. For YouTube, we don't go like crazy with like super production. Yeah, I mean, you need a few things, right? Like for example, you had an intro speaking directly to, hey, you watched the class and you've seen the results, and things like that. And then we place a couple of video testimonials. So video testimonials play a big role into especially retargeting, because like usually in all programs and products sold like online with a buy now button, when you use retargeting, when you use testimonials, especially video testimonials, you usually increase the conversion with like at least another 15% when you have video testimonials.
And these retargeting ads are showing up as pre-roll on YouTube?
On YouTube, yes, as pre-roll, in-stream, all in-stream. But right, the way that we design these, like for example, you need the Google tag installed on the page, and then you just have, when you create the remarketing audience, you just have to say to Google, because it's on Google Ads platform, you got to create an audience from people that have and the way that I do it is I create audience from each pages. So let's say the webinar has like 6-7 steps. You install the code on all pages, and then you create an audience from each of them. I don't do the kind of like the typical audience creation when you say create an audience from people that landed on this one, but they didn't land on this one, but they also landed on the order page. I just create one audience on each page, and then I exclude people, right? Because for example, if we have 6 or 7 different audiences, you include and then you exclude, and it's a much cleaner way to do it instead of complicating the hell out of it.
Now, Russell Brunson offered to help me with my book funnel, because he's the book funnel king. So next week we're talking with him and his team to break down my book funnel Facebook ad sequence. And I mean, I'm not the Facebook ad guy, but I don't even know that Russell is a guy, but his team is definitely, they know what they're doing, because Russell sells a million ton of books. Is there anything that I should be asking them that can help this campaign? I know it's not exactly what he does personally, but they've seen enough of those kinds of campaigns.
Numbers and stuff. Now that I'm thinking that when is this happening?
So today's Friday as we're recording this. We're talking to them Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. So the new process it won't be even, it'll probably just be launched at that time. I guess it'll be, because we're just changing this. I don't know necessarily if you would be maybe just sales. I wish I would have known this.
I just messaged him today to figure it out. Now the focus is on Facebook advertising for this call, at least, about how to do our Facebook ads better, because he's all about trying to get your first funnel break even, and then you have upsells and everything else on top of it.
Oh, maybe. Maybe if we should, so it's good. Actually, they're looking at the book funnel. Maybe if he recommends to have some sort of upsell within. What's the book funnel? Like you're selling the book, and then what's the next thing?
So we have the book, which is free shipping, plus the bump, which is the Thought Leadership Academy, some of the classes, into Movement Makers, which is my membership program, into the YouTube webinar. So that should be switched to ever webinar whatever as well.
Oh, so this is the book funnel that has on the thank you page the webinar itself.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. So
because we had no last step, because I don't have a coaching program one-on-one or something like higher ticket. So we put the YouTube course in there.
Got it. Maybe just if they will, and Movement Makers is what, $49 a month?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be too much of a big jump to actually do maybe they'll say yes. Maybe if they recommend the actual course itself as a price point to be offered as a regular upsell, like maybe the payment plan, right? Like it's 4 months or something like that. Maybe they'll
Instead of the bump, or what? As the bump?
No, as an actual upsell, as the last upsell.
But not on the thank you page?
Correct. Yeah, if they would recommend that instead.
So take out Movement Makers, or have Movement Makers, because there's the one-time offer. That's the Movement Makers. So you want a second one-time offer?
As another, like for example, people that don't buy that, if they should be introduced to the YouTube course itself as a payment plan. Just as a question in there. Maybe it's a little bit confusing for people then, because if Movement Makers.
But they will on the thank you page, right? I mean, whether you say yes or no to Movement Makers, you still hit the thank you page because you bought the book. And on the thank you page is the old webinar that has to be updated to the new one.
Yeah, you do get to see the webinar itself. What I was wondering for them to look at it, if they actually look in there anyway, to just see if it makes sense. Even though I would say it will probably not, because it's too much of a big jump from 49 to 240 to 297 as the payment plan. But I mean,
okay. Well, I think the focus of this first call with them is going to be about Facebook ads and the targeting and the budgeting and the audience selection and
how to track
all that stuff. That
is it their internal team that runs the Facebook ads for his books? Oh, he's John. I forget the last name, but I think he's John, the head of paid advertising team, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it's internal. It's their team who runs everything for them. This they do. I mean, I don't know if he's doing internally other, like if he has a course or something that he's selling internally, but books is definitely his jam.
I don't think there's anybody selling that many books.
Yeah. So he's willing to. We talked a little bit when I was in Puerto Rico with him about it. Anyway, I reached out. He said they're happy to take a look, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Anyway, it's not till Wednesday. If there's anything Facebook related that you think might be interesting, you can always message me, and we'll try to fit it in there. Okay, cool. So we have marching orders. New thing launches next week.
Yeah.
By the time we do this next call, we'll have some updates for everybody.
Talk about
who can 10x it.
Let's go.
All right. Thank you for the love. Have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, man. Take care.
Thanks, Marian. Cheers.